Oh, Outliers, Niiamah Shang here, and thank you so much for letting me be a part of your journey. Today, we have an amazing roundtable of outliers here on the Outliers Edge podcast, and I want to make sure you get a chance to get to know each and every one of them. So we're going to go around, and you can give. I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourself to Outliers here, and then we're going to dive in more in terms to find out more about like how you leverage what makes you different to make your biggest difference in the world. All right. So let's start off with Beth, and then we'll go to Julia.
Hi, everyone. My name is Beth Cougler Blom, and I have a learning design and facilitation company. It's called BCB Learning. And if you haven't heard the term learning design before, basically just the short story is that we work with organizations to help them create courses. So in person, online, that's what we do. We create courses for folks, and we also do facilitation skills training and facilitate things ourselves. And that's what my podcast is all about. It's called Facilitating on Purpose, and it's all about designing and facilitating learning.
Glad to have you here, Beth. Julia, why don't we come to you, then we go to Carlyn.
Great. Yeah. So I'm Julia Kraft, founder of Speak to Inspire Coaching and the creator of the She Speaks to Inspire podcast. And I work with introverted professional women that tend to get nervous and fearful, anxious when the spotlight turns to them. And I help them to get rid of the nerves and get more comfortable and confident when they're in the spotlight.
Glad to have you here. Carlyn and then Peter.
Hi, my name is Karlyn Benn, and I am a psychotherapist and liberation strategist and founder of Love is the Verb. And I work with women, helping them free themselves from feelings of not enough, good enough, tall enough, smart enough, skinny enough. And I do that through the gift of self-love.
Peter, and then Brendan.
My name is Peter. I'm from Charisma Inc. Coaching. I'm here to assist you to reconnect with your most authentic and most fearless and most charismatic and most magnetic self. That thing that is underlying all of the false beliefs and brainwashing of this society that we've been indoctrinated into. And once we reconnect with that true self, we literally, all of our truest desires, our soul desires, not the ones that have been brainwashed into our subconscious mind, but our true desires, everything we've ever wanted, that which will satisfy us becomes a magnet. Our true soul desires come to us. We don't have to get up and go get them. They come to us with our true, once we embody our true vibration of the highest vibration of unconditional love.
Glad to have you here, Peter. And Brendan?
Yes, I'm Brendan Lundell, and I'm a high school youth director, and I'm also a restaurant manager. And my main thing is helping kids learn, grow, and get confidence, gain confidence. That's mainly what I would say my jobs are.
It's fantastic to have all of you here. Thank you so much for playing with us here today. I'm going to start off here really from the standpoint of like getting started. And so right now, each of you are playing your game and you're building your businesses. You're making your impact out in your world. And I want to go back to okay. I want to go back is one part where I want to see like, hey, before you knew that it was going to be successful, right? What like take us back to that time, and essentially I want to know is like what's something that you use to anchor yourself to keep moving forward before you started to see the success that you wanted to succeed in your business and beyond, right? Julia, for some reason I am called to you, so why don't we start with you here? The round table's open, so y'all can talk. You can just jump in, but why don't we start with you, Julia?
Thank you. Before I even had any clients, I felt like I was working all the time, right? And not making any money. So I just want to call that out, that is the reality of an entrepreneurial life at times in general, and especially at the beginning. And the number one way that I found to grow my business and that I help others to grow their business or get ahead is through speaking. And I don't mean like huge conferences. I mean, like you are at a party and you speak really clearly and confidently about what you do. And it's magnetic, and then that leads to the next opportunity. Oh, my community would love to hear from you. And then that leads to the next opportunity. And so everything has to get momentum, and there's always a ramp up phase. And then I'll just share, what keeps me going a lot of times. I can remember some dance parties in my living room where I just put on some high vibe music and I'd shake it out and sometimes cry or scream or whatever, because entrepreneurship is an emotional journey. It pushes all your buttons, and then you got to come back to your center with hope and positivity and move forward.
Thanks, Julia. I'll leave this open here. If anyone else wants to jump in, go ahead and jump in this time here. Anyone have anything else they want to say about like how you keep yourself anchored and move forward even in tough times?
I can definitely add, keeping myself anchored, it seems like a recurring theme that comes up, especially as an entrepreneur. My faith is very, very strong, and that is what keeps me grounded. I live in my purpose and sitting in what God has for me to do here on earth. And so when I'm wanting to give up or just throw the towel in and do something that doesn't require me to think that much, I remember that that is not what he wants for me to do. And I am here for a purpose. And so I just always ask for strength and pray that I'm able to see through what it is that he wants me to be able to do. And that always tends to work for me.
Oh, fantastic. Let's take one more on this one, and we're going to go in a different direction. Anyone else want to join in on this?
I gladly, what anchors me as well is the people that I keep around me and my faith as well. That always, the people that don't say yes all the time and they're like, did you really just do that? Like people that are there to like check you and to ask you why you're doing stuff. And also just, excuse me, being around kids, they just like to say what's on their minds exactly. So that also keeps me very anchored.
I appreciate that here. I think I wanted to start off with that anchor element here because there's just times as we're going on this journey as outliers that we're creating something that is different. I think something that like most people haven't seen, or at least different from us. Most of the people that we come around. So I'd love to go to Beth, and then I want to go to Peter here. I want to just get your takes on these two first, and then we'll open it up again. Beth, I had a background in learning and development at a tech company. So when you talk about like design and instructional design, I'm like, I get it. Tell me about like for you, what was one of the more challenging parts about like bringing your offer and bringing your business out into the world? And then like, how did you go about navigating that from the standpoint of like, leveraging the outlier side of you?
That's such a good question. I think one of the things that I struggled with and that I talked to a lot of people about in the beginning was that whole thing of finding my niche. Everyone was saying, you got to find your niche, and it's only one niche. And I think if I look back, I started my business 13 years ago, but if I think about the first couple of years, maybe, I can't quite remember the timeline, but I floundered a little bit trying to find that ultimate niche. And I decided eventually that I would have 3 niches that all related to each other. And when I found that and settled on that, I felt really good. It felt, okay, this is what I'm doing. These 3 things all relate to each other. And I just tried to buck what everybody was saying about choosing one and said, nope, it feels like 3. I like all 3 things, let's do that. And that has stayed pretty true for the last 10, 11 years of my business. So I tried to not listen so much to what other people were saying, but listen to myself and what I really wanted to do in my own business.
Can I ask real quick as a quick follow-up on that, Beth? Because I myself recently went to this point where I was just like, hold on. Like, I want to know what my niche is. I've been asking, people have been asking me this for 7 years, and I've been telling you what it is, because it's real for me. Whether or not you get it or not is probably why I know that it's a niche, Can you help me see, you got to the point where you were doing this journey and then you said like, it's these 3,
Yeah.
right? Tell me about like the fidelity you had to like make that decision for yourself, considering that it's not like it's not the conventional wisdom to go about.
I think I just kept saying, it's my choice. It's my business. I get to do what I want to do. It's no one else telling me what to do. And you can take advice, but then you still have to follow your own dreams. And I just couldn't give 2 of the 3 niches up, So for us, it was learning design, facilitation, like actually facilitating, and then teaching about those 2 things as the third prong, if you will, or the third niche. So I knew I liked all 3. For me, being a great learning designer, I have to facilitate, I have to teach. So I couldn't give it up. Like, it was so interrelated. And I just had to keep telling myself, nope, this is good. And it worked. And people do hires for all those three things.
Nice, nice, nice. Peter, I'm curious what's coming to your mind as this part of the conversation continues.
Well, let's expand on the concept of niches, right? And all of the noise out there about what our niche should be, or finding, quote unquote, finding our niche, looking for it as if it's outside of us. Our niche has always been within us. And the biggest challenge is to drown out all of the external noise and voices and people telling you what's best for you, as your niche is always communicating with you through the signal or the energy of passion and highest excitement. And once we drown out all those external voices, we're able to hear our higher self communicating to us through the signal of passion or our highest excitement. And then we understand what our niche is. It's been within us all along, just like all of our true soul desires have been within us all along. Those things that we've been seeking externally for have been within us all along. And this is really the crux of the metaphysics of manifesting or conscious creation that I teach, is understanding that everything you desire to experience is actually within you. And we stop projecting those things outward or absorbing, consuming the beliefs, opinions, ideas, and ideologies of others, then we're able to tangibly connect with that inner wisdom and inner guidance that's been within us all along.
I like to play with this. Thank you very much. So you said that inner wisdom, inner guidance there. Brendan, I'll be curious for you. And then like today, for some reason, I'm just following my intuition. I'm like, Brendan's gonna have something else to say, then Julia's gonna have something else to say. I don't know, but we'll play it out. Brendan, following that inner wisdom and guidance here, tell us about something that you took on, a project you took on that was very meaningful for you, that stood outside of the norm for you, did and had a huge possibility of not coming out to fruition, not being successful. And again, I'm going to go back right now with the outliers thing, how you leverage your outlier in order to make it come to life.
Yeah, the first thing that comes to mind is last year in the summer, the start of this summer, I had my first opportunity to run camp by how I thought camp should be run. And what that entails is that's around 300 middle schoolers coming to camp being led by high schoolers. And this was the first year that I decided that our high schoolers needed to be campers too. And they needed to have that time to find themselves before asking middle schoolers, who are you? They need to have that chance to find that within themselves. And a lot of people didn't agree with that at first, but then we got the camp involved and got their leadership with that. And it turned out to be the best camp that we've had in the last 5 or 6 years. So that was my main takeaway. And everybody was just blown away by what happened. And I was like, that was all these people. I just put everybody in the right places. And then it just happened. So that's the first thing that came to mind with that. The fact that they gave me the opportunity and I took it and ran with it, and it worked out great when it could have just easily collapsed and fallen very, very easily. It was amazing that it didn't. And so that's my first thought.
Yeah, do we all have one of those moments where it's like it could have just very easily collapsed? And yeah, I'm seeing some nods all around here. Thank you, Brendan. I want to keep fueling up this space with the possibilities that are around and continue to open up from there. So, Julia, does anything come to your mind on anything that on either that last point or anything else that we've talked about right now that you'd like to put into our pool?
To jump off of what Peter was talking about with sort of the energy that you put out is what you get back, or it's already within you. My words for that when I'm working with speakers or with women is that your presence, the presence you have, it's impacting people and it's underneath your words. And so back to niches, business coaches get so nitty gritty about the exact words of what your niche is and how to talk about it and the copy on your website. And it gets all tight and perfectionistic, when I totally agree. It really is something underneath the words, between the words, something magical and energetic that you can't even put your finger on that draws people to you. And if we can cultivate that element of trusting that within yourself, trusting yourself, and with my work with speakers specifically, trusting that the right words will come to you in the right moment, which is the art of improvisation, as opposed to the art of writing a script and trying to memorize it and be perfect. The art of improvisation is definitely the art that speakers these days need to master. And then there is a flow that happens in your business, in your life, and just like with your nervous system, that there isn't as much tension and anxiety.
Yeah, Julie, you mentioned flow this time earlier. You were talking about momentum.
Oh yeah.
I like that element of like continuous motion and like being able to start with something and this allowing that to continue kind of like unhampered, unimpeded. That's something that I'm picking up with you, Julia. I'm like, oh, if you're in Julia's space, like the momentum keeps going, things keep expanding there. Awesome. I'm going to bring in another question in just a bit, but I want to just open it up to each of you awesome outliers. I'm loving the way this conversation is going right now. So I just really trust you. Is there anything that you want to speak to right now or to build upon inside of the space here? Otherwise, I'll bring in another question.
I can jump in on flow because that even triggered a memory that I had of walking out of a meeting that I had with a couple of clients, and I viscerally, Peter's going to like this, I viscerally felt that, oh, that was so amazing. I just love that feeling of being in that meeting with those folks. And that's exactly what I want to be doing. And, just paying attention to those moments where you go, I want more of that, whatever that felt like or was, and we did together, that's what I want. And then I guess the tricky part is figuring out how to get more of it in some ways. But maybe Peter would say I'm going to put words in your mouth, Peter, but let me know if we can identify that, maybe that helps us attract more of that to ourselves.
To answer your question, it's when we stop thinking, then we'll start knowing. When we marry ourselves to the present moment, we can always tangibly feel our intuitive guidance. And whether Julia knows it or not, what she's actually teaching is the art of being present and then that radiating that presence. Because when we are present, when we are married to the present moment, we don't have to plan ahead. We don't have to think. We don't have to consume other people's beliefs or formulas. We are guided by our intuitive guidance that comes from our higher self, which is really connected to everything. It is our God self. That when we let in a supreme presence, a supreme wisdom that goes beyond anything we can consume from the external world, when we master being present and are guided by our intuition. And it's just the energy that you're talking about, Beth. When we follow the path of our highest excitement, it will never, ever lead us wrong.
Ooh, all right. Now I'm gonna now play in the place that's excited me here. I'm gonna call this your not so hidden secret advantage, right? Your not so hidden secret advantage. Karlyn, I'm coming to you on this one first. Yeah, just this is fun. I'm dancing today. What's something in your business? What's something you do in your business, or something in your business that most people wouldn't like know of, but it's actually one of the things that you would say is like you would attribute to the secret of your success?
The depth of my ability to relate to the work that I do with my clients. Everything was born out of my experiences and something that is a little bit, especially in the therapy world, I am very open and transparent with my clients. I believe in building rapport and community. And one of the ways we do that is by sharing our experiences. It is okay that we've had pain. It is okay that we have dealt with a lot of hurt and some of the things that we've been through we're not so proud of. But when we allow ourselves to be open about that, the way that we can connect with one another is it's unmatched. And so I've had, some people, they kind of disagree with me doing that, but it has not failed me yet when it comes to the work I do with clients. So I will just continue to walk in that light and do what it is that I do. So that is probably something that a lot of people don't know, but they will now. So there's that.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, we're gonna be revealing it here. Like, but you know what? It's so funny. I used to be like so afraid that if I told people like either what I was doing or like how it was getting done, like it would get done. Other people would take it, and it's just like the two things come out for me is like one, most people are so busy just trying to get their own things done that they never actually like will ever get around to it. And then the second thing, and this goes back to my outlier edge on this one here, like you couldn't do it like me even if you tried. So I'm glad I don't feel bad asking this question. That's what I'm getting at here. How about who else? Who else has a not so hidden secret advantage that they'd like to share? Something that you do that in your business that most people wouldn't know contributes to your success.
Well, I'll share that it's sort of like what Peter was saying in terms of presence. people find me because they have public speaking goals and challenges, right? So the public speaking thing is like, it's what I lead with. But when someone comes into my world and says, I want to work with you, or if they hop into the podcast, and if you listen to more than 5 minutes, you'll realize that I'm taking a really holistic approach to the realm of you being a better communicator and you just feeling more calm and comfortable in your own skin, which is the world of mindfulness, the world of energy flow, like we've been talking about, the world of inner self-confidence, and really transforming yourself from the inside out to be the inspiring voice and creator and thought leader that you're called to be. And anyone that I work with can take that as far as they want to, or not as far as they want. Like sometimes it's just about transforming your primary relationship. I've had women that either have gotten out of marriages or found their one while they're working with me because they started showing up as they truly authentically are and speaking up for themselves. And other people have gotten the promotions and gotten the stages and the audiences and the clients that they wanted. So it really starts with that state of being, and that's like the secret sauce once people start working with me.
Well, let's keep on with the secret sauce. Anyone else want to bring it in here?
I'm one of those weird people that I find
Yay.
out I love numbers.
Yeah.
And off meeting me, a lot of people would not assume that because I'm all like everywhere, loud and all this, but I truly love numbers and crunching the numbers. And like I play chess on my phone for fun. Like my friends think I'm crazy, but I find that fun because you have to think and then you have to do it at the same time. It's more than one or two things at a time. And I absolutely love just like the crunching the numbers, writing a schedule, doing a script and all of that sort of thing. And a lot of people do not assume that whenever they meet me. So I love to just throw that in there. Like, I love math. You need help with your math homework? Okay, I can gladly help you with that. Versus oh, what are we doing in gym class today? That a lot of people just assume that that's what I am. So
Awesome, Brendan. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that in. Anyone else have anything else you want to bring on this one? The not so hidden advantage?
For me, I love to connect with people, and I think I like to help people too. I mean, even when I had jobs for employers, I would try to just give people information that they didn't ask for, and just go, let's have a great conversation. And what do you need? And I'll try to help you get it. And I just bring that into my business too. So I'm always the one that people call when they're new to town and they're like, oh, we have something to do with training and facilitation. You should talk to Beth. And I'm like, okay, I'll talk with you and try to help you. And I don't do that with any kind of an agenda other than just, hey, let's all try to help each other. And there's a lot of work out there for all of us. And truthfully, the more people that we know, I know it comes back to me in terms of business. And I actually have done data crunching around that, right? I know where my business comes from, and it comes from referrals. And so the more I just show up as a human being that's just trying to help others and be a good person in the world and doing my work along the way, it's really about the human connection for me. And it always, always has worked out.
Very awesome. Peter, is there anything that calls to you in this question here around the not so hidden advantage, something that you do differently in your business that most people wouldn't know?
Well, my specialty is teaching charisma. And there are three frames to charisma. There is presence, which is the core frame. There's power and warmth. But literally, presence is the key to everything. If we're able to marry ourselves to the present moment, we'll be in a constant state of meditative flow, and we'll be constantly guided by our higher intuitive function. This requires us to calm our nervous system and stop reacting to the third dimensional illusion that we're creating with our energy around us, and understanding that we're the creator, that we're creating everything that is manifesting in our so-called external reality, that it's just a reflection of our inner state of being. And so understanding that this universal reflection is just reflecting our internal state of being gives us the understanding that we are creating everything with our energy, and how tapped into the understanding that we are the creator, not the victim of our experience. Once you understand that, then you can start consciously creating and stop reacting to the illusion. That's literally the core teaching of my so-called secret, which is not really a secret.
Thank you there, Peter. I appreciate that. For some reason with y'all, just being in this space with you has taken me to a place that I wasn't anticipating. And it got me thinking about just like being like I'm enjoying the conversation here. And it got me to think about a question that comes up with my outliers a lot, where they talk around it's not even a question, right? So like really deeply inside, there's a limit that they place because they don't want to leave the people that they know. All right. So now we're getting into like as you all have continued to level up in your world, as you've taken on bigger goals, as you've accomplished bigger things, as you continue to grow at an exponential or rapid pace. I'm curious for you how you have uh navigated. I don't know how I want to make sure I'm framing this in the right way because I don't want to like overly to pigeonhole us all in here, but how you've navigated the existing relationships that you've had that may not have been growing with you at the same kind of pace or so on and so forth. So a lot of like essentially it's boiling down to a lot of people say like I think I'm going to leave this person behind, or I would be coming off rude or ungrateful or like selfish, or I'll be thinking too much of myself if I really grew. And I notice that it holds people back quite a bit. And y'all are a fantastic group of people. So I'll be really curious about how y'all uh, you know, keep your relationships up as you go on or not. Anyone want to take this one on?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
Brendan.
First thing that came to mind is I have
Good for
conversations.
you, bro. Good
I
for
have
you.
conversations. I have conversations with my friends all the time about forcing and changing the narrative because I'm like, if we're friends and we have to act like we actually care about each other and not just the one side of it. So forcing so how is your day? Timesing that by 10, and how can you figure out more about them without kind of shining the light on yourself, if that makes sense. That's where like oh, I have to be at this level because my friend's at this level. And fighting with that, it's like, no, we're all on different levels. We're all like trying to figure out life all at the same time. So how we can do that is just by supporting each other. And some people like that, some people don't. And then you can have the next conversation or no conversations past that.
Is this something that y'all have like collectively agreed on? Is this something that you like that you just kind of like implicitly have here? Like what's how did you arrange that?
I'm weirdly and good and
Yay.
bad, overly communicative. So some of my friends really appreciate that, and some of them don't. But if they want to call me the friend in their life, then this is who I am. So some of them really like it, and some of them are like, I've had enough of Brendan for the month. I'll talk to you in a month, sort of a thing. Hmm.
All right. I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing that in, Brendan. I like the way you play. Who else is being called to answer this one?
Well, in my young life, I'm not too old, but in my young life, I feel like I've had many lives. I'll just say that many different phases, many different groups of people. And I think that is a path of growth sometimes as you do outgrow people, friends, communities, places, and allowing that flow. Gosh, that does seem to be my theme today, is a necessary part of life, a dynamic life, a dynamic life. And at the same time, I got married about 5 years ago. And so growing with someone is another thing entirely. It makes me think of the ways that I have grown with my husband and how we've sometimes come up against each other where there's some boundaries I'd say I will no longer accept this. Are you in or are you out? And so there can be those conversations too when you really value someone and the relationship and of course the commitments that you've made. How are you going to grow together is a dynamic process.
I love this. I love growing together. Carlyn, is there something that's coming to you?
Yes, that in my mind, it was, valuing others and also valuing yourself enough to do what is best for you. And that can be trying at times, especially when it comes to family members or friends we've had for ages, to end up in a place where we're just no longer aligned the way we used to, at the point that it is to one's individual detriment. It's It's time to put that boundary in place. It's time to step up and have the uncomfortable conversations. And at the end of it, sitting in the knowing that you're doing what is best for you is enough comfort, because you can walk away and have that peace. We stay in situations way too long sometimes because we're trying to please other people and keep other people happy. And when you allow yourself to put yourself first in that selfish way that the world condemns, you end up in a much better place.
I think too, we have maybe friends for different reasons and different purposes. Like there's a constellation of friends maybe that I have in my life. And some of those friends are also entrepreneurs that I've collected benignly, to me as I've gone through my life. And we have this give and take relationship. We call each other when we have those tough times in our business, and it goes back and forth, right? It's reciprocal. And then there's other friends I have that don't do anything related to what I do, and we almost never talk about work, and it's a different kind of friendship. But yet they're all supportive. It just, the support looks different. Julia mentioned her husband. My husband does something completely different than I do. And I think it took him a long time to understand my job. I think he might understand it now. He tends to tell people what I do, so that's a good sign. But I just know, if I really want to get into the weeds of something business related, he'll probably not listen to this later. We'll see. That I probably don't talk to him in depth about it. I might kind of skirt across the surface, but maybe there's another woman entrepreneur friend that might go a little deeper with me. And it's like who to choose to have a conversation with to get what you're looking for. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
I appreciate it, Peter. I'm thinking about you right now because you teach on charisma, and I'm imagining as people's as their charismas change out and they're getting more present and such, and what you were saying, their being changes, the way that that they interact with other people also change. So I'm curious for you, what have you found? What do you do to help people actually navigate that component of leaving people behind, or just basically people being like, wow, you've changed. And whether you're up leveling or who your being has changed. Hold on one second, Peter. Let me do one thing here. I want to make sure we can actually hear you. Okay.
As we progress on our path, we raise in frequency. That raising in frequency creates a vibrational mismatch with those of us who were on our former timeline, right? So we are shifting to a new timeline, literally, because we're emanating a different resonant frequency. And when that happens, let me put it this way. Everybody's on their own soul path. And when you raise in frequency and you progress and you become more of who you truly are, if people aren't falling off of your timeline, then you're not really progressing.
Mm. Mm. It's just so y'all know, I really appreciate the counterintuitive, the things, I have a mentor who would say he would talk about imposter syndrome, right? And he said, I would have people come in and they say, hey, can you help me deal with imposter syndrome? And it's like, why would I want to do that? It's like, well, because I don't want to feel like an imposter. It's like, well, that's actually an indication that you're taking on bigger things, that you're stepping into things here right now, right? So rather than looking at the things that we tend to associate in kind of the colloquial way of looking at it, I love the counterintuitive. We are going to start wrapping up our conversation here today, and I think that now that I brought up the counterintuitive, I'm probably going to regret this later on time wise, but I'm really curious. I'm how do y'all think? What do y'all think that you've seen? I'd like to take from two people here today. What's something that to be true that few other people believe you on, or would see it? This, what is that like? What's something that's counterintuitive to you? Another way of looking at this question is what I call a distinction. Right. And a distinction here is if it's about the nuance, being able to see something that you're able to see in a way that most other people wouldn't, to be able to determine what's different between two different areas. All right. So if the counterintuitive makes more sense, go with that. Otherwise, if there's a distinction that you have, you can go and bring it. And I'll bring an example of my counterintuitive. My counterintuitive is most of the time, the way that people think that we come together is by figuring out what we have in common. But for me, what I find really brings us together is by celebrating and valuing the things that make us different. We can do that. We can be with anyone, And so with that being put into this space here, I want to learn from y'all. What's something that you look at? What's something that you think of or approach very differently than others? And would you mind sharing that with us?
I'll share that a lot of the speakers that I work with are so worried about doing a good job. And maybe the entrepreneurs, outliers that are listening have had those kind of fears and concerns. And something that I realized a long time ago and that I teach all the time is to remember that when you're communicating, when you're speaking, a moment like this, it's not about me at all. It's about the people out there receiving a message. And so to get out of your own way and get out of your own head and really connect with those people to make it for them and about them, it's a gift. So that's definitely a distinction or a counterintuitive thing to realize.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you for picking up the ball that I threw, by the way. I appreciate that. Anyone else want to dribble real quick and then we'll wrap up for today?
I could say something about the counterintuitive. It makes me think about where I get inspiration from. And one might think, oh, I just get inspiration from reading things about learning design and facilitation because that's my content area of my business. But I actually get inspiration from everything around me all the time. And that's one of the joys of the podcast that I have because I can dig into a specific thing. For example, music. It's like, okay, well, we use music in facilitation, but what are we learning just from music in general and how it works and what it is and who does it and why and who doesn't do it? And there's so many things that we can relate back to our work in designing learning around, and that's something that still is kind of related to our work. But what about, I don't know, I talked to a clown recently about what their work was, a humanitarian clown. And I'm just fascinated to go, oh my gosh, there's a lot of facilitation going on in a clown going into a hospital to work with people. And nobody would really usually make that connection, but I do, and I love it. I'm just always seeing connections between, maybe I love my work too much, or I'm always thinking about
No,
it, but it's
I feel
everywhere around us where inspiration comes from.
Beth, I could feel it. Like I could feel how much you enjoyed that. That's awesome. That is awesome. I'm grateful for y'all. Thanks for letting me get a chance to see you. Thanks for letting us here as outliers get a chance to see you. Outliers, if there's anything in this conversation that has like revved you up that you feel like would really go out and help someone else get an edge, please, please, please take the time right now to go and share this episode and this conversation with that one person. You don't have to make it all. You don't have to even post it everywhere. Just like there's one person in your world right now that would really benefit from this. Make sure that they get a chance to hear this. All right. That's my request of you. With that being said, I want to make sure that the outliers who want to continue down your journey also know how to do that. So what we want to do here, the way that we do this is with two questions. One, please let us know like how we can follow up with you and continue down your road. And then the second thing here is to share with us an insight or a takeaway that you have as a result of this conversation. The insight might be, I didn't get any insights. That's fine too. But like bring that into our space and we'll use that to help wrap us up for today. So why don't we start with Beth, then we go to Julia.
Sure. People can find me, probably the best place is LinkedIn. So Beth Cougler Blom on LinkedIn or BCB Learning or the Facilitating on Purpose podcast. One thing that I'm taking away is I think what Brendan was saying right off the bat is about listening to youth and the things that youth have to teach us, whatever our businesses are. There's people coming up behind us ready to take up the mantles that we throw down or still are holding. And we can learn a lot from youth. And I give that advice to myself that I should reach out to and learn more from the youth in my life and find more to attract to me and learn from them. Thanks, Brendan.
Yeah, so you can find out more about me, Julia Kraft, and my company Speak to Inspire Coaching at speaktoinspire.com or listen to the podcast at She Speaks to Inspire. And when you get to the website, you'll see there's a free training. You can register right there to watch the 20 or 22-minute long training and sign up for a call at the end of the training if you want to learn more. And my biggest takeaway today is just a reminder of the power of networking. It's now that everything's online and after COVID, I don't do as much networking as I used to. And I really appreciate connecting with other like-minded people and entrepreneurs and the momentum that can come from that. So I really appreciate this time.
Oh, thank you, Julia. Thank you, Beth. I appreciate both of you. Why don't we go to Peter and then we'll go to Brendan?
You can connect with me at my YouTube channel or my TikTok channel. The best thing to do if you really want to understand my work and really want to understand the enlightened inner mechanics of what charisma is and how to unleash it, because it's in you right now. The most charismatic, magnetic individual you've ever met is within you right now. Just go to my YouTube channel. The first video pinned at the top is called the Charisma Masterclass. It's a free 1 hour live stream. And I guarantee it, it will absolutely change your life in a way that you can't even imagine right now if you're still believing you're this human character or this brainwashed ego mind identity that is insecure and all these other things that we've been brainwashed to believe about ourselves from misperceptions, misunderstandings, and misidentifications from the external reality. That 1 hour live stream will change your life. And if you want to work with me further, you can go to my website at petesapper.com and apply for a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Brendan and then Karlyn.
Yes. You can find me. I'm still in the very young age. So Instagram is probably the best way to ever talk to me if you're not in my 1 mile radius, wherever I am. So my Instagram is BR3NDSN, Brendan, the cool way. And then the one thing that stood out to me was when Julia was talking about the art of improv. That I absolutely loved that. Showing art in a different way. And relations and talking is a big thing. So I love the art of improv. That's the main thing that stood out for me.
Thank you, Brendan.
Yes, you can find me at loveistheverb.com, along with that same Love is the Verb on TikTok and Instagram. Brandon, it's not just you. And one of the takeaways is just the friendly reminder of how important mindfulness is, being present is. As a business owner, it is so easy to get far ahead, trying to see what the next thing is you're going to do, and just allowing yourself to relish in the moment and applaud everything that's happening in the now is very important. So thank you.
Well, thank you all. Thank you for taking the time. Thank you for using your time over the years to be the outlier out in the world. It's important, and I see you all, and thank you for letting yourself be seen here today. I appreciate you. Thank you very, very much. And we'll continue on from here. Until then, outliers, remember this: be you on purpose. Journey on.